What an amazing night, an incredible scene out of Sochi.
Yeah, nothing but pride and hope on the faces of the athletes. I'm Scott Kilberry.
I'm Janet Lomax. Tonight, following that theme of hope and pride, we have a special edition of News 10 NBC we think you're going to enjoy.
Since we started our New York State Exposed series, we've received an incredible amount of feedback from you. Many have told us these stories are critical to protect the place we call home, while some others feel we're being too hard on our home.
So we want to give you a behind-the-scenes look at this series, why we do it, and what's still to come. I'm sure you're going to find that while we all may have different opinions, one thing is certain: together we share the same hope for the future and pride in this place we call home. Here's Leah Landa.
You'd be hard-pressed to find someone in our area who doesn't feel that Rochester, New York, USA is a great place to live, work, play, and raise a family. All of us at News 10 NBC agree, as this is our home too. But in spite of all the wonderful things our area has to offer, too many of you tell us that you simply can't afford the high taxes anymore, and it's driving people and businesses away, sometimes at an alarming rate. So our team decided to dig in, ask the questions you want answers to, and see where the story leads.
Well, taxes, really high, and we've known a lot of people who have left, and the reality is we would leave if we didn't have our family close by. That's just kind of a sad fact.
I mean, I'm losing a lot of faith in our politicians, and they seem to be out just for themselves.
I don't like being like the highest tax state in the country.
It's no surprise New Yorkers feel as frustrated as they do. Take the report just released from Fiscal Times concluding the Empire State takes the prize in 2014 as the worst state for taxes. Findings like that may be in part why more personal income and more people are fleeing here faster than any other state. So we wanted to know more.
The question we posed online was, do you feel like you need to leave New York to get ahead? And the response we got filled our email inbox.
You have to leave New York.
Yes. There's no option. I mean, there's nothing I can do to make a difference. The only difference you can do here is vote with my feet at this point and walk away.
No one we talked to liked the idea of leaving their home city, their hometown, their home county, leaving their friends and their family. With all of those things that were tying them to home, their best option was to leave.
New business and jobs certainly would be a boost for our area, and New York is touting that it is open for business.
Open to bold ideas.
But we learned that may not be the case. The Tax Foundation finds that New York actually has the worst business tax climate of all 50 states. And we learned business owners have something else to worry about too.
When I said, okay, I want to do your story, they said, oh, no. I'm not sure I want to talk about this on camera. I said, why not? This is a great way to let people know what you're up against. And they said, I don't want the state to come back at me. The state come back at you? They're worried about getting audited just for talking and speaking out about what they're facing every day as business people.
We also discovered a law unique to New York that business owners say is costing us all.
So the scaffold law, it's been on the books since the late 1800s. We're the only state in the union that has this. A lot of companies emailed us when we told them we were doing the New York State Exposed piece, and they're like, you have to do something on the scaffold law. Well, this affects everybody. Taxpayers, you're funding projects that are much more expensive here in New York State because of this law. It's adding to some public projects into the millions of dollars. And let's say you want to build a home. We're hearing from contractors that they have to add an extra $10,000 to $15,000 to each home because of this law.
These stories put New York in a bad light, which none of us like to see. Certainly all of us want our state to thrive, to be a place where our children and grandchildren can afford to stay if they choose. But look what else we found when we started digging. Cell phone taxes, electricity rates, and gas taxes are all some of the highest in the nation.
I was just out of state a couple weeks ago and it was significantly cheaper, 25, 30 cents.
Property taxes, bottle deposit laws, income taxes, yearly vehicle inspections, vehicle registrations, and throughway tolls. Some states may give you a break in some of these areas. In New York, we get them all. And if you die in New York, there's a fee for that too. Finally, there are a couple stories we uncovered that really got viewers fired up. The first is one of New York's entitlements, which in part led Forbes to call us a death spiral state.
The state provides lifetime health benefits to state employees after they retire, after they leave their state jobs, as well as their families, costing taxpayers millions and millions of dollars. And we talk to people who don't work for the state saying, Why don't I get lifetime health benefits? Not only are state employees getting pensions, but people who don't even work for the state are getting taxpayer-funded pensions. And those specifically are lobbyists.
Another story that brings out passionate opinions from both sides is the SAFE Act.
After these stories, we started getting emails from our viewers, but we started realizing that some of those viewers were really impacted by the SAFE Act. They were firefighters who served right beside those victims of West Webster. These were men that they knew and loved and worked with for years, and they wanted to set the record straight.
We have several firefighters now that feel very unsafe going to calls.
Does the SAFE Act make you feel safer in any way in that regard?
Not at all. Not at all. No.
I mean, that's why they contacted us. They contacted us because they wanted people to hear their side of the story. They just didn't want people to assume that they were for the SAFE Act across the board. There are parts of it they like, but there are parts that they are adamantly against, and they wanted News 10 NBC to give them a voice.
While it's hard to find concrete numbers, we did learn that according to the RPD, homicides were up in 2013, and 52 out of 62 counties passed resolutions opposing the SAFE Act. What is certain is that both sides want safer streets. The last story we'll touch on is one about the people we've elected to run our state. The people who we discovered are the third highest paid lawmakers in the country, and that didn't sit well with many of you.
It's not right. I don't think so. I think it's way too much.
Do you agree? Is nearly 80 grand too much for a state lawmaker in New York? And it's only for 60 to 65 days a year. So the average person in New York is making a fraction of what lawmakers are making for a part-time job. So this infuriated a lot of people.
Well, for what they do, I would give them very little. But
When I was looking into how much our lawmakers make, first of all, the surprising salary that we pay, and then they get that much more on top of it if they do essentially their job. And it exceeded in the tens of thousands of dollars. That was very surprising to me to see how much more, even on top of the salaries that our lawmakers were making. That was eye-opening for me, and that made me think, boy, are we getting our money's worth?
To Scott's point, are you getting your money's worth? That's your call. Our job is to make sure our politicians are doing what they say they will do. With your suggestions and with some lawmakers pledging new bills to ease the tax burden, we're hopeful that together we'll see results.
We love this state. I love living in New York State. I love so many things I love about New York State. My hope is that through our New York State Exposed reports, we're able to effect change.
At the very least, what we're doing is we're just asking questions that the average person wants to ask or didn't even occur to them to ask. Why do we have to pay for this? Why is that so expensive? What return am I getting on my investment? And do I get what I pay for? And if we've just started that conversation, then I think we've started a good conversation.
We want to make a better New York State. So by doing these stories, we're showing you what's really going on. We're showing you the real issues, but we're also showing you the solutions, who you can talk to, what lawmakers you can talk to, so that we can solve this problem together. We're all one community.
One great thing I hope to get out of this project is to make this a better place to live and work. And that's really what we all want. And that's what the lawmakers should want too. And they do. They're just having a tough time finding that support in Albany to get these things passed and to make life easier for all of us.
I think the lawmakers are paying attention now because we are following that money. We're asking the hard questions. We're saying, why is this the way it is? Because our viewers want to know. And I think they're kind of paying attention. And when they're going to be in Albany in that legislative session, I think they're going to be thinking twice about, I need to make sure I'm doing right by my constituents and right by our viewers.
We want to continue to hear from you, no matter where you stand on the issues. It's not about parties or politics as usual. Instead, it's about building a better tomorrow.
That's why we'll continue to stay on these stories, so that you'll have the power to make better decisions. After all, like you, we share that same pride and hope for a better future in this incredible place we all call home.
Now, if you want to make your voice heard, we're here to help. Go to WHEC.com where you'll find an email and a special phone number to contact us. Plus, we've added some important links to help you become informed and involved.
We hope you have enjoyed this special presentation and perhaps got you thinking a little bit too. News 10 NBC, we'll be right back.